welcome to the Evolve Effect. I'm Alexa, your guide to glowing and growing. For those that are new here, thank you so much for joining. There's a reason why you decided to watch this video today, so stay tuned to find out why and see what resonates with you. For those that have been watching, thank you so much for your support. It does not go unnoticed, and I appreciate all of you so much. Today, I'm going to jump into how I became an esthetician at 18 years old and how I started my business, that is the Evolve business. For those that have been following my journey, I'm sure you know that I am a at-home esthetician. I also own a cosmetics line, and now I do this podcast. So I'm going to talk about kind of how that journey started, what got me interested in all of this to begin with, and kind of go from there. So I would say, for me, I feel really lucky to have known what I've wanted to do since I was really little. I've always been really interested in makeup, in the beauty industry, and I just knew this was something that I've always wanted to do. When I was in high school, we all either would show up to school with a full face of makeup or in pajamas. It was kind of one or the other. I was one of those girls that was definitely one or the other half the time, but I did love doing a full beat. I would do the eyeliner, the lipstick, the eyeshadow. I would go all out just to go to high school for no reason. But for me, it was really fun, and it was a way to express my creativity, and I really enjoyed doing it, and it was just like fun for me, It wasn't really about like looking a certain way. It was more just like, oh, that would be fun to put like a little wing here and have a bright lip and maybe some sparkly eye. Like, that's fun. Like, it was just fun, And I think that it's important to express that because I know a lot of people think of makeup as like covering up things, and there are some people that do use it to, cover acne scars and cover age spots and all that kind of stuff, and that's totally what it's for, right? But it's also just to express your creativity and to just feel beautiful and to be fun with it. It's like, how fun is it to have glitter on your eyes? Like, even when you're a little girl playing with, the little fake makeup and stuff, I still do all of that now. I'm like, oh, fun, glitter. Let's put glitter all over my face because it's fun, So it's about being confident. It's about feeling true to yourself. It's about being you, I don't know how else to word that. But yeah, so for me, makeup is more than just like a looks thing. It's a whole different creativity and just like experience for me. When I do makeup, I zone in, I was just talking to my boyfriend actually about like the flow state and how when you're like in the zone, you're in the flow state. You're just doing your thing. You're not thinking about anything else. You're in the present moment and you're being creative, and that's what you're doing. And for me, when I do makeup, hair, all that kind of stuff, skincare, I'm in the flow state. I'm doing my thing and I feel great about it and it's fun. So that was just kind of my little background. But yeah, so in high school, I knew I wanted to go into beauty school. I originally thought I wanted to be a cosmetologist that, they do hair. And I'm still very interested in doing that maybe one day. But what happened was I ended up deciding to go to beauty college, long story short. And when I went to the school to apply, I was like, yeah, I just learned how to do lash extensions. I was doing it on a little mannequin head for a while, and it was something I was really interested in doing because I had been getting my lashes done personally. And the girl, Terry, who did my lashes was like, oh, if you're interested in like doing this, I can like show you how, and you should go to esthetician school. And I was like, what's an esthetician? Like, literally had no idea. And so she was just telling me all about it, and she's like, yeah, it's in Vacaville, like, it's super fun, you would love it. So I was like, yeah, that does sound fun. And so then, anyways, I'm backtracking. We went to the school, me and my mom, to go and like apply and see like what they had to offer. And I went in being like, yeah, I'm going to be a cosmetologist because they do hair, nails, like they do everything. So if I wanted to be an esthetician, I could be a cosmetologist and still do skincare, which was my thought process. Little did I know that, cosmetologists mainly do hair and they barely, focus on the skin and the nails and stuff, from what I've heard, at least from other cosmetologists. And so I went in, I was doing the tour and stuff, and I was like, yeah, this looks super fun, like, that looks great, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, the lady that was touring was like, well, let me show you the esthetician like area and just see if you like it, like just for fun. And I was like, okay. And I walk in and it's like super quiet. Like the cosmetology room was like music blaring, everyone was like hanging out doing hair. And then I went to the esthetician hall and it was like Zen spa music, doing facials, and it was just like so chill. And I was like, this is kind of nice too. And like, that looks fun. Like, I want to give a facial. Like, this looks exciting. And so it just kind of like intrigued me a little bit more. And I wasn't expecting that because I didn't even really know what estheticians did at the time. And so we went back and we're talking and she was like, well, if you're interested in like makeup and like skincare and that stuff, like I'd recommend esthetician school versus cosmetology because cosmetology is mostly hair, blah, blah, blah. And so, and then also the perk, esthetician school was only 6 months long versus at the time cosmetology school was like, I think 14 months. And so for me, I was like, well, at that point, maybe I'll go the shorter route. I don't know. And so I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I really am interested more so in the skin and makeup and that aspect more so than the hair right now. So I think I'm going to go this route. So sorry, that was like the longest explanation of how I decided to start. But that's why we're here, right? We're just hanging out. I'm hoping that some of you guys are just chilling watching this. And so I decided to start esthetician school. I was there, I think it was like Tuesday through Saturday every week. I was there from like 5 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. around there. And for me, that was great because they had a morning class option, but I'm a night girl, so I took the night class and it was great for me. And the thing that really stuck out to me was I enjoyed being there, for one. For two, I was excited to go every day. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I have school. Like, for me, I was excited every day to be there and excited on what I was going to learn and what I was going to get to try and what I was going to hear. It was just so fun for me. And I realized when I was like in high school, I was not a school girl. I hated being there. I was not having a good time taking the tests. I was just not thriving. I was just not putting in the effort because I didn't care. I don't care what y equals mx plus b, whatever that thing is, like, exactly. I don't need to know that in my head. I'm like, I don't need to know this. What am I going to use this for? But for me, when I went to esthetician school, we took chemistry, we took anatomy, we took, disinfection and skin stuff, and I was learning all the same stuff almost that I learned in high school with anatomy and all that stuff, but it was being applied in a different way that for me it made sense to be like, oh, now I understand why I need to know the layers of the skin, because now I need to learn the layers of the skin to be able to, do a chemical peel or tattoo, all of these things. For me, it clicked and I was like, oh, I'm interested in this now because it applies to what I'm interested in learning about. Versus in high school, it's like, okay, fill out this equation and learn every muscle in the body. I'm like, I don't care about every muscle in the body. I just don't. But esthetician school, I was like, oh, well, now I need to know the face muscles because when I do this technique and, it just applied differently for me. And so for me, I thrived in esthetician school. I was like top of my class, 4.0. I'm pretty sure I got 100% on every test, quiz, assignment, project. I thrived. And I won a few awards. Like, I had perfect attendance. Like, all these things that I never did when I was younger because I didn't care. But now I care because it's something that I'm very passionate about. And so I think for me, that was like a big confirmation that this is what I'm supposed to be doing because it just felt right. And I just felt really good about it. And so I loved esthetician school. I literally always say, like, if I could go back in time and live through that again, I would. It was so fun. It was just great. And all the girls that I was with, like, they were all super fun and nice. And it was just a great time for me. And I know some people have experiences in beauty school where they, might not have a great time and they don't get along with people and they don't feel like they learned anything. And I've heard that a lot. I've seen a lot of videos where people are saying that beauty school taught them nothing. And to an extent, I understand, where they're coming from because, yeah, they don't teach you everything. But for me, I feel like I did learn a lot, and it might have just been the specific instructor I had, and she just gave, a lot of real world, like, experience lessons, and she taught me a lot, and I still think about a lot of the things she said to this day when I'm working with a client. on certain things, on like how she put her glove on for certain things and to be careful of like just things like that. She replays in my head sometimes. So for me, I had a great experience. So this is just my opinion. So anyways, had a great time. Long story short, I really enjoyed it and found something that I was very passionate about at a very young age. And I was very lucky to find that. I have people that I meet now that are in their 20s that still don't know what they want to do. And that's totally normal. If you're one of those people that's in their mid to late 20s even, and you're still like kind of floating around, you're not exactly sure what you want to go for, that's okay. I was very, very lucky to know what I wanted to do at such a young age and to be able to pursue it at such a young age. It's normal. There's people that might not even figure out what they're interested in until they're like 40. There's people that have epiphanies, and there's people I went to esthetician school with that were in their 50s and they just figured out that's what they finally wanted to do. They're like, you know what? I'm not happy with my job. I'm not happy with the career path I chose. I'm actually really interested in skincare and makeup and all this stuff. I'm going to go to esthetician school. It's never too late to try something new. Never too late. You can do literally whatever you want. I want to emphasize that because there's people that think that they're limited for multiple reasons. Financially, maybe they just don't think they're good enough. Maybe other people have influenced them to think they can't do something. I want you to just think to yourself, what is it that you're really passionate about? Forget about how much money you're going to make. Forget about how much it's going to pay you. It doesn't matter. Money is irrelevant. What are you very passionate about on a day-to-day basis that you can turn into a profit? You see what I'm saying? There's certain things. There's people that are super crafty. They like to make jewelry. Okay, great. You're having fun making jewelry? Okay, let's share that with the world. Show them what you got. You can do that with anything. Baking, cooking, cleaning even. Get your own cleaning service. If that's something you're passionate about, makes you feel good to clean someone's house, do that. It's never too late to decide what you're going to do, and don't wait for someone else to tell you can do it. Does that make sense? I'm waiting for a response, but I'm hoping this makes sense. So that's kind of what I did, and I'm still doing. There's career paths that I'm still pursuing right now that have nothing to do with being an esthetician, but it's something that I'm passionate about on a different aspect of my life. So you can just do it. Just do the thing. Do the thing. That's my biggest advice I always give to my clients. The younger people that come in that are working at, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, wherever, and they're like, I don't really know what I want to do. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. But like, is there something you're like passionate about? I always ask that. What's something you're interested in? And they're like, oh, I really like fashion. Oh, I really like computer stuff. I really like coding. and I'm like, okay, well, let's find a way for you to be able to do that instead of trading time for money at Chick-fil-A. You see what I mean? And again, I want to state there's nothing wrong with working for a fast food joint or a clothing spot, retail, whatever. That is totally fine because I've done it. I've worked at multiple food joints. That is not my point. My point is if you can see yourself reaching a higher goal, aim for it. If you never try, you'll never know. You will never know if you don't try. So that's something that I've always just thought about is like, I might as well go for it. If it fails, that's okay. I can try other things. You might as well just try. We're only here for such a short period of time that it's just so silly to not try, Even if you're not feeling confident, give it a go. So that was my input. But anyways, back to my little journey here. Sorry, I just had to tell somebody who's listening. They needed to hear that. And so anyways, I graduated esthetician school March 14th of 2020, right when COVID hit the U.S. Everything got shut down that day. It was crazy. And so state board, which is where you get your license from, they shut down for a while and they were really backed up. So I couldn't take my test for a while, so got licensed the following year, but we're not going to even get into that. Anywho. So from then I decided, okay, do I want to work in a salon or do I want to just go solo? And it's really, 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 really hard to just go solo as an esthetician just right off the bat. It's very highly not recommended to do. But for me, I kind of just kind of what I wanted to do, and I just went for it again. Just went for it. It didn't work out, then yeah, I can go work in a salon, but I might as well try, right? So I actually had a little room at my grandma's house in the back of her house. It was my old like bedroom I would stay in when I would go over there, and I brought my lash bed in there, and at the time I was only offering lashes, okay? And so people would come, I'd post on Instagram, I'd get some friends of friends. It's really just a word of mouth thing. And so I wasn't doing bad, and I was just starting out, so my prices were low and all that stuff, and I was having a good time doing it. And then after a while, I moved my stuff into my parents' front home office. So it was like an actual office space with its own entrance and everything. And that was really fun. And then I started offering facials, and I started offering waxing. And so I was finally doing kind of more of the esthetician stuff. And at that point, I was only 18 years old, 18, 19. And it was hard because I didn't have anybody working with me. So for me, it was just every day, I didn't have coworkers to talk to. I didn't have, people to check in with for anything and make sure I was doing something. It was always just like whatever I remember to do, whatever I'm supposed to do, it's all on me. And so, that goes as far like everything. I was doing the marketing, the advertising, the content, buying the products, tracking the sales, literally anything you could think of. It was just me by myself. And I had never run a business before. I'm 19 years old. I don't know what I'm doing. It was a lot of learning from experience. So the first 2 to 3 years that I was doing this, it was a lot of trial and error, I'm going to try this type of sale and see how that works. And then I'm going to make sure that I have these policies because last year somebody, it just, you have to learn from experience, unfortunately. And there are some people that are going to mess you up. That's just how it is, And I love my loyal clients. All of you are so special to me, and you guys are all my friends. Seriously, I've had some of you for years now. And it's so crazy to think about that, it's been this long and we've just seen each other every couple weeks for the past couple years. That's so special to me. And so, you're going to make a lot of friends along the way with your clients. If you do choose to work at a salon, you'll make friends with your coworkers, with the owners, with people that are coming in. You'll have more of a social. But for me, I kind of like being a little more independent. That's just kind of my personality. I like to be a little more by myself. But yeah, so it just kind of worked for me. I would say the thing that I learned the most about starting a business at a young age, for me, I was really lucky. I talked about this in my first episode, that my parents, have cultivated this amazing business together for 30 years. And so from them, I've learned a lot of how to run a business, that type of stuff. And even if I have a question, I can call them and be like, hey, how do I do this? How should I go about this? My client just told me this. What should I say? I've learned a lot through them. So for me, again, I got really, really, really lucky. And I am acknowledging that, yeah, I was super blessed to be able to have parents that know how to run a business and that know what to do when certain things pop up, Something that I had to learn on my own was that you have to be able to stand your ground with certain things, and that people will try to loophole anything you put out. So if I have a certain sale going on, there's people that are going to try to, find a way to save more money, and you forgot to put in a term and condition on something, and they find a way to get an extra whatever, you know what I mean? It's hard to not give a specific example, but it was just for me realizing I have to be very specific with my wording for certain things and when to tell people no. If I don't work Sunday Mondays, I don't work Sunday Mondays, and that's just how it is because I've set that boundary for myself. And when I first started, I kind of would let people just whenever they wanted to come in, they would come in, and for me, it would mess my schedule up, and then I wouldn't charge late fees sometimes, and then people would be late and move the rest of my clients out, and then I would just be kind of like screwed, or people would have to cancel. It gets complicated, and it's hard to do by yourself. But just know that it's possible. It's definitely possible, and I've been doing it for what? Like 5, 6, 7 years? I don't even know. A while. I've been doing this for a while. And so, yeah, I think that it's a great industry. It's a great industry. There's always new things happening with skincare. There's always new things coming out with makeup, new little gadgets, new products, new ways to apply products. Like, it's always evolving. It's always evolving. And so I just love it. And yeah, I think a lot of people have been asking, like, what are tips that you might have for someone that wants to start a new business. And I feel like this kind of goes hand in hand with what I was saying earlier, but again, just go for it. Go for it. Do the research though, look up best ways to, depending on what you want to do. If you want to start a baking business, look up what packaging you want to do. Put together a Pinterest board of what vibe you want. What color scheme do you want? What fonts do you want? What kind of packaging? What kind of vibe do you want to go for? For me, with my cosmetics line, I knew I wanted it to be pink. I knew I wanted it to be kind of modern looking. And then I knew the specific products I wanted to put out that not everybody has. Like the blush stick with the brush on the side. I know there are some other brands that have that, but it's not like the most common thing on the market. The eyeshadow stick with the sharpener on the end, not super common. I know people have it. I know. But it's not like everybody has an eyeshadow stick just in their bag, People usually have the palettes. And then with like the lip gloss, I really hated heavy, sticky, thick lip gloss. It just drove me nuts. And so I was like, I wonder if I can make like an oil-based lip gloss. So it's kind of like a lip oil, but it's also a gloss and has the shimmer. And so that's how I came up with the glosses. I make those myself. And so, yeah, you just kind of have to play around, and it's okay to fail. I talked about this in the other episode. I had Lex Cosmetics. It failed. It was terrible. But I learned from that. So now Evolve Cosmetics is so much better because I went, okay, well, Lex Cosmetics, I did this, and that didn't work, and I didn't like this. And it just made it so much clearer on what I should do. So don't be afraid to try something and fail. And then try something new. Or try it again, I just think a lot of people are afraid of judgment, and a lot of people are afraid to try things because what if this and what if that? But you know what? At the end of the day, what you're not changing, you are choosing. This is a statement that I think about all the time. What you are not changing, you are choosing. Let that sit for a moment, because if I decide, hey, I'm gonna decide not to go to the gym today, I'm choosing that. I'm choosing to be a person today that isn't going to follow through with my fitness journey. I'm choosing to put my goals to the back. That's my decision that I made, right? You're choosing the lifestyle that you might not like that you're doing. You're choosing that by not changing it. If you're someone that stays up till 4 a.m. every night and you're like, I really wish I could wake up earlier. And then the next night you proceed to stay up till 4 a.m. You're choosing to be somebody that stays up till 4 a.m. That was just a small example. But you see what I'm saying? You need to change to be able to evolve. Even if it's little things like going to bed an hour earlier and starting your day earlier and getting more things done if that helps you. So I think it's just little things like that people maybe don't even realize, And especially with the new year, I think it's really important to write down your goals. And I saw a study that, I'm not sure what the percentage exactly is, but there was a study that said if you write down your goals, they are more of a chance, I don't know the percentage of a chance higher to become a reality. And I'm not sure what the reasoning is. It might just be because you're, writing it down and it's now out on the paper in front of you and you're reading it and you can reread it and whatnot. But I think that's really important, is to is to visualize your goals and visualize you doing those things, For me, I always try to visualize things that I'm not doing right now that I want to be doing, I visualize me owning that salon. I visualize me doing other things that I'm not going to mention yet. But like, I visualize this podcast room almost exactly like this. I was like, this is the wall that I see when I'm talking about this podcast. I see this room. I see these chairs. I see I see the pink microphone. And this was months ago that I was like visualizing this room, and then here we are. And here I am talking to you guys. So I think it plays a big role is to just believe in yourself and do whatever you want to do in this world for the greater good. Don't do anything that you're going to harm other people. Let me be clear on that. But yeah, so I'm going to keep this episode kind of short and sweet, like Sabrina would say. We love Sabrina. And I'm going to try to, wrap it up a little bit. But I think that, in conclusion, it's important to trust your gut. It's important to go for your passions and try the thing. Go for it, Life is too short to not take a little risk, and you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That is a fact. So you might as well try. And I'm not saying like quit your job and go do something crazy that you don't, you know what I mean? But take a little risk. Do the thing you've always wanted to do, because you will regret not doing it. There's people that I went to esthetician school with that were in their 50s, and they were like, I've always wanted to go to the esthetician school. And I always just thought that it was like too late for me. It's never too late. It is never too late to go to school and learn something new, or not even go to school, just to try a new practice, So that's my biggest advice, is do the thing. It's 2025. We don't have time to be, tiptoeing around ideas. Do it. I'm a very spontaneous person, so for me, you gotta just be on it, But yeah, so that's my advice for all of you listening today. I will be having many more special guests coming on soon. And for now, here I am. And I'll be back by myself as well. I'm gonna kind of ask to see what you guys want to hear about. This was kind of the most commonly asked question. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. It was very short and sweet, but I hope you guys maybe resonated with something and got inspired. But yeah, remember, you are glowing, you are growing, and you are doing amazing. And thank you for watching The Evolve Effect. I'll see you guys next time.